Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, and all sorts of good things. And guys, it is a momentous day. We've had records shattered. We have new trailers dropping, a lot of good stuff. And joining us to talk about all this good stuff is Kimberly Kern. Kimberly, how you doing?
Hi, good morning. Do you smell that?
Uh-oh.
Oh my God, do you smell that?
Oh, here we go.
Oh my God, what is that? You know what?
I don't know, but it doesn't smell good.
I know what it is.
It doesn't smell good.
It's Victory.
And we'll get to that Victory in just a second. Sitting beside her is her fellow 1-0 in Victory personas.
Oh, wow.
Mr. Ray Aura.
Wow, John, you've been on a
Cold streak.
Yeah, a very cold streak. Maybe someone else should come in this room and
Cold
make a bet with you. Anne needs to come in and make a bet with you.
And listen, by the way, I lost by more than what you think. I lost by like $3 million.
Yeah.
No, but I lost by more than that. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too.
And we're going to talk about the penance for
no, there is no penance.
For your failure.
Yeah, too late.
It's too late.
For your failure.
It's too late.
I'm sorry, but like that's what I was thinking in my head the whole time. I was like, oh, Kim never finalized the bet.
Yeah, she did that to protect herself. To
No.
Oh yeah. No.
The beat will drop. The beat will drop, and you're finna get to dancing.
Aren't set before the results of the bet.
I brought a cardboard mat.
Oh yeah, that
today.
That didn't happen.
I want to see you.
When the final projections came in at 240, right? I'm like, I'm not going to make Kim set terms now because now we know it's not going to be.
We never set the terms.
Exactly. We never set the terms, so it's too late.
Both of you guys were just contemplating what
late.
It would be.
I know.
And then it was
We're
too
being
late.
really evil.
Well,
Yeah.
no. Like when the final projection came at 240, I wasn't being evil. I was being like, okay, I'm not going to hold Kim to this because we didn't set terms now. I'm not going to set terms now that we know it's going to be 240.
Yeah.
And so I didn't bring it up, and you didn't bring it up either. So now it's too late.
Many a times on the show, I was like, we need to set the terms.
But we never
need to set the
actually
terms.
did set the terms. So you get the satisfaction of victory over me, which is the sweetest satisfaction
It's a great feeling.
of them all.
Great feeling.
But I think I'm going to have to kick you something else at some point. I'm not sure what yet. At some point, I'll have to kick you something else too.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll come up with something. But anyway, guys, we are so glad that you are joining us here today on this show. It is a momentous day for the movie industry, for Marvel, for Spider-Man. A lot of good stuff there to talk about. And we are so glad that you're here. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break the show up into two halves. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. In the second half of the show, we're going to take your live questions. If you'd like to send in a live question to be read on this show or an upcoming companion video, no problem. All you got to do is go down into the description of this video. You'll find a tip link. Click on that there or enter it in manually at www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. You'll be getting your question read on our show if we deem your question appropriate to be read on our show. And of course, you'll be supporting the channel at the same time. And all of us here involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. Just want to throw this out there right now, though, guys, about you guys sending in questions. Yeah, don't send in questions asking questions about specific details about Spider-Man No Way Home. I was up till 5 a.m. today going through all the emailed in questions, and I've had to take out like so many of them because they're, hey, John, so in the scene in Spider-Man No Way Home, when this happens and this happens, which led to this, and this, and blah, blah, and I'm like, we can't read that on the show, so we had to take those out. I moved as many of them as I could over to the spoiler, the part 2 of the spoiler discussion that we're going to do later this week, but I might have missed a couple. So guys, please, when you're sending in regular questions using the tip link, do not send in Spider-Man No Way Home specific questions unless it's things that are outside of the movie because we can't read those on the show. Anyway, with that said, let's get into our off the tops here, shall we? And we do have one off the top here today. And that off the top is this. You know, there's a director out there by the name of Robert Eggers, who is a really interesting cat.
Yes.
I mean, he's done more than just 2 films, but the 2 films that he's most known for are The Witch, which I personally think was great. Like it was unnerving, and everything that kind of a thriller kind of horror film should be. You know what I mean? I thought it was really, really interesting, especially with the end. What was the name of that damn goat? Black Thomas or something like that? You know, what dost thou want? What dost thou offer? I'm like, it's freaking me out. So, I mean, but it was a little bit divisive, that one. That one was a bit divisive with a lot of people, and that's fine. So then...
Oh, they're saying Black Phillip.
Black Phillip, thank you, not Black Thomas. I almost said Black Adam. Yeah, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in The Witch.
The multiverse.
Crossover.
So Black Phillip, that scene was so creepy. So you could tell that this is a different kind of dude, just from watching that one film. Then he did another film called The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. I still, to this day, do not know what the hell I watched when I saw that. Like, I know I walked out of The Lighthouse going, I mean, that was captivating. Like, the scenes between Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, all their dialogue scenes, I was absolutely riveted to it. It was shot very stylistically. I really dug it. But at the same time, I walked out at the end and have no idea what I just watched. I have no idea what I just watched. It's really weird. So then when we're at CinemaCon this year, they give us a big presentation of his next movie coming out called The Northman. And it has got a killer cast.
Oh my gosh, that cast.
Alexander Skarsgård, Nicole Kidman, Anya Taylor-Joy, Willem Dafoe, handsome Hawk, Ethan Hawke. I mean, it just killer cast. Now you got to understand, I really loved the show Vikings. I loved that show. And I was watching this preview they were giving us for The Northman. I'm like, this has really got a Vikings vibe, but maybe even more gritty, more edgy. So the official trailer dropped today. I love it. I was eating up every single moment of this trailer, from the kid yelling, "I will avenge you, father. I will save you, mother. I will kill you," whatever his uncle's name is. And he just keeps repeating. That's his mantra through the whole thing. And I'm like, this looks every bit as visceral and dark and everything that I want from a really cool Viking movie. And Skarsgård looks awesome.
Doesn't he?
He looks so good. Yes. So look, I think Eggers is like one of the most interesting directors out there. And I use that term quite literally, interesting. Like one of the most interesting directors out there. This looks like maybe the most straightforward movie maybe he's ever done. So I'm sure there's going to be a couple of twists in there somewhere. But I loved what I saw in this. You had a chance to check it out. What do you think about it?
Oh, it looks really awesome. It looks great. Not only, I think it's great when you have a wonderful cast. That's cool. That's awesome. But when you place them so perfectly, as this trailer was unfolding, I was like, Nicole Kidman looks perfect for that. Alexander Skarsgård, spot on for that. Anya Taylor-Joy, I have no idea what her character is, but she just looks like she fits. And I have a feeling we're going to walk out of this and go, I know what that was. And I liked it. Yeah, I'm really excited for this.
Ray, you had a chance too. You knew nothing about this movie. You had no clue. This is
I had so many questions.
Ray did. You have so many questions.
I get confused easily on 2-minute trailers.
What did you think about it though?
It looks good. It reminds me of Conan the Barbarian, like someone said in the chat. Like there's some Conan the Barbarian.
There absolutely is.
Yeah, but the Viking show, like I've never seen it. I'll check this movie out though.
This looks really good to me. So anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see this trailer for The Northman? If so, what did you think of it? I'm not going to lie. I loved it. I thought it looks absolutely awesome. Cannot wait to see it. How did you guys feel about it? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's get into our main topics here today. And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really simple. You see, you guys come up with our main topics. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Kim, what is our first main topic today?
All right, this comes from Franklin Moore. Happy Monday, John. You've mentioned a couple times that you weren't particularly excited for Matrix 4. As for me, it's in my top 5 most anticipated. Anyway, did you have a chance to glance at the first reactions? Some are saying it's great. Others are saying not so much. What do you think of them, and how do you think the reviews will hold up when they come out? Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot for saying that in, man. And yeah, look, it's no secret. I've been very open about this. I am not excited for the new Matrix movie. Now, I'm going to go see it, I think, Wednesday. I'm going to go see it Wednesday. And so I'm interested in it, but I have never had any reason to feel excited about it. Because as we've laid out before, the first Matrix, iconic, all-time, awesome.
Amazing.
Matrix 2 and 3 were, I think, universally agreed upon to be steep declines. And then after that, the Wachowskis, to me, made some of the worst films in cinematic history. And on top of all that, only one of the Wachowskis is back for this. It's not the pair of them. It's just the one. So I've always said, look, I see no reason. Give me a reason to be excited for this, and I never have. Then the trailers came out. I still don't have a lot of faith in this movie, but my God, those trailers are awesome. Like, they were top-notch, fantastic trailers. From the music choices, the edits, the shot selection that they decided to use in them, I have loved both of them. Those have been great trailers. Still not a lot of excitement for the movie, but I got to tip my hat. The trailers are incredible. So I have been very interested to find out what are the first reactions going to be like. And the first reactions did come out a couple of days ago. Now, it should also be noted that the review embargo does not lift until tomorrow, the day before the movie comes out. That's never usually a good sign. It doesn't automatically mean cataclysm, but it's never a good sign that the full review embargo doesn't lift to the day before. But, whatever. But the first reactions have come out and they are divided. Some really didn't like it. Some really quite did, like a lot. So let's take a look at some of the ones that have come out through here. So David Ulrich writes, The Matrix Resurrections, despite and because of its infinite goofiness, is the boldest and most vividly personal Hollywood sequel since The Last Jedi. A silly/sincere galaxy brain take on reboot culture that makes peace with how modern blockbusters are now in and of themselves. I'll guess some really good ones. The Matrix Resurrections, this is from Nigel Smith, is more fun than I remember the sequels ever being. Yes, it's bogged down in exposition like the previous two, but there's a knowing wink to it all now. Newcomers Neil Patrick Harris and Jonathan Groff are key to that. And the climax rocks. We go on to Scott Wampner, who writes, so far I have personally spoken with half a dozen friends who have seen Matrix 4, and no two reactions were identical. Excited to see where this takes us. Clayton Davis writes, The Matrix Resurrections is too self-aware of its existence, poking fun at itself a bit too much. It's very heavy on the love story with not a lot of show-stopping action and effects, which is what the people want. The best part is Jonathan Groff, but that's just life at this point. He goes on to write, you'll probably see it on the Oscar shortlist for visual effects, but it might be 50-50 for something like sounds. They go into that. Aaron Stewart on writes, the past 2 weeks I've been talking a ton of people who all, with the exception of one, have been like, The Matrix Resurrections is going to be so divisive, but I think I loved it. Emily Vandervet writes, there was a point in the middle of The Matrix Resurrections where I briefly thought it was the best movie ever made. And I haven't convinced myself it's not. I loved it. And a lot of people are going to hate it. My kind of movie. Matt Patches writes, Matrix Resurrections, best movie of the year. So angry, so joyous, so fun. You see, these are all over the place. Courtney Howard writes, Matrix Resurrections is a terrific, awe-inspiring, meta mind bender completely in line with the franchise's legacy. Finds an innovative, high-concept way to frame the new story. Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss's chemistry burns. Jessica Henwick is a revelation. And then we get into stuff like this. Jeff Nelson writes, The Matrix Resurrections is an almost 2.5-hour exposition dump with choppy action scenes reminiscent of the Bourne movies. It reuses far too much footage from the previous installments, and it's meta to a fault. Alison Foreman writes, I am deeply happy for those who will enjoy The Matrix Resurrections. I am, regrettably, not among them. It's leagues better than Reloaded and Revolutions, which is, to be clear, not really a good thing, but it has had bad stakes. Nothing matters, and not in a cool, nihilistic way. Anyway, so you see they're kind of all over the place. There are some people who like it, some people who love it, some people indifferent, some people really didn't like it. I mean, so it is kind of the true definition of mixed. It is going to be very interesting to see where these reactions or where the reviews end up once we get the more full laid out reviews, and those again don't come till tomorrow. So I'm not surprised. And you know what? I might end up loving this movie. I might end up absolutely loving it. But right now, knowing what we know going into it, I'm not surprised to hear that people are kind of divided on it. So I'm not quite sure what to expect going into the reviews. Are these what you expected to hear, Kim? And if not, what do you think we're going to hear out of the first reviews when we get into them tomorrow?
Oh, man. It kind of is what I expected to hear. I have high hopes for this film. It's disappointing that some of the things that made The Matrix, the original 1999 version, great, which was the visual effects, the mind-bending plot. It sounds like from the reviews, these reviews, that those are the things that are at fault, that they're going a little bit too meta, a little bit too deep. And I don't like what I'm hearing about the action not being on point, not being there, because The Matrix, in terms of visual effects and action, it changed the game for sci-fi films. I mean, how many films do we know of after 1999 that changed and borrowed from The Matrix? How much Matrix DNA did we see in sci-fi and action films since then? And I know that maybe they can't reach the former glory, but I don't know, it's a little disappointing. And so I'm hoping overall it gets good reactions. But I have to say, one thing that I did expect and do expect to be on point is the action. And so I'm a little nervous of what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I was surprised to hear too, was that, I mean, I expected to hear a lot of maybe story stuff didn't work, whatever, but to hear that the action wasn't great. Now, granted, not all of them said that. Only a couple of people said that. Maybe the action will work great for me. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about the early reactions to Matrix Resurrections? I'm kind of not surprised. I think they're right where I thought they would. I didn't think they would be all bad. I didn't think they'd be all great. It's right down the middle. That's how I kind of thought it. Are you surprised? What do you think we're going to get from the full reviews that come out tomorrow? Are you excited for the film? Whatever you guys are feeling, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. Kim, what is our second main topic today?
All right, this comes from Alex Voth. I personally think The Witcher is the most exciting thing on TV right now, with its amazing blend of non-linear storytelling, brilliant characters, and even better performances. I wasn't even aware that a prequel series was coming, and I just saw the Blood Origin trailer. I'm thrilled. The fall of the elven culture, the establishment of the Witchers, Michelle Yeoh. Oh yeah, bring it on.
All right, thanks, Todd, for saying that. And you know me, my heart belongs to Michelle Yeoh. You put Michelle Yeoh in anything, particularly when she's whooping ass, I'm there. I'm totally there, and I'm totally in. By the way, I'm completely with you. I had no idea this was coming. I even watched an early screening of Witcher Season 2, and unless I missed it, they didn't even mention this thing.
No mention, no teaser.
No nothing. Then apparently when Friday it debuted, when Witcher Season 2 debuted, which, by the way, I really like the debut of Witcher Season 2, but when they debuted Witcher Season 2, I guess they showed this clip of Witcher, Blood Origin, which I guess takes place like 1,200 years before it. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, well, look, on the one hand, I'm excited because it's Michelle Yeoh and it's more World of the Witcher. On the other hand, I am generally not into prequel ideas. I like seeing stories move forward. Like, if they were to have asked me, which surprisingly enough, they didn't.
Oh my gosh.
But if they were to have asked me, John, do you think we should do either a parallel story in the world of The Witcher that happens at the same time that the Witcher main storyline is going on, but with a different set of characters inhabiting the same world? Or should we go back 1,000 years and tell a story from there about origins? I would rather see a different story being told at the same time frame. Like, I'm just really not into the idea of prequel. Some prequel stuff works really well. I'm not saying it doesn't, but that's generally where I kind of lean. So I watched this and I thought, okay, there's definitely potential, but the trailer itself didn't really get me going. Anyway, this comes to us from the folks over at Variety, who write the following. The teaser focuses on a trio of elves, played by Michelle Yeoh, Lawrence Arfurian, and Sophia Brown, who travel the wilderness and fight several groups of soldiers. It seems like they band together on their journey and recruit others, but at one point in the teaser, the three heroes cross swords with each other. Set in an elven world 1,200 years before the world of The Witcher, Blood Origin will tell a story lost to time, including the creation of the first prototype Witcher and the events that led to the pivotal conjunction of the spheres when the worlds of monsters, men, and elves merge to become one. Now, look, I am all for the sounds of that. That sounds great. And if I just read that, I'd be like, okay, I'm down. The trailer itself, though, felt kind of low budget. You know, 3 people in a landscape. It didn't have a sense of scale to it, and maybe that's on purpose right now. So look, I'll say this. I am looking forward to this show. The trailer, I did not think the trailer was great, but the sounds of it does sound pretty good, so I'm on board with it. You had a chance to check it out. What did you think?
You know, the thing I love about either sci-fi or, you know, mystery, magic is world building. And I like that they're not so much expanding, but kind of telling the story of beforehand of this world of The Witcher. And so I'm very interested in that. I love the elves. I'm interested in it. And Michelle Yeoh, she's having like her own renaissance. Not like, don't call it a comeback.
Really
it's not like, but she's got a lot of amazing projects coming up. And I'm so excited to see more of her. So I am interested in seeing this world get bigger and find out more about it and how things happened and the history of the world, because that's just what I love about fantasy.
Ray, I can't even remember if you watched The Witcher.
No, I did.
Yeah, we tried to get you to watch it with us, but you didn't. You didn't watch it.
I didn't. I just can't follow shows that well.
So I mean, seriously, guys, we tried. We tried so hard to get Ray to watch Witcher with us. You know what? I think I will make Ray sit down and binge watch Witcher.
Okay.
Just so he can get on to season 2, and then for season 2, he will do the post spoiler chat on all Witcher season 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's
Ray's gonna do
the best news I've ever heard in my
90
life.
minutes, bro.
All right, guys.
90 minutes.
Question is for you. Did you have a chance to see this trailer for Witcher Blood Origin? If so, what did you think? What do you think about the concept of the show versus what did you think about the trailer? Whatever you guys are feeling about it, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Kim, what is our third main topic today?
All right, Rajan says, so yesterday marked the 20th anniversary of the best film trilogy of all time, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, which debuted in theaters on December 19th, 2001. 20 years, $3 billion, and 17 Academy Awards later, it continues to be one of the most celebrated films of all time. On this special occasion, what do you think about the legacy of Lord of the Rings? Also, what do you think are the chances of an HBO Max reunion special? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, thanks for sending that in, Rajan. And yeah, yesterday marked the 20th anniversary of the North American release of Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, the first film in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Growing up, there were only a couple of books that I read like growing up. I think one of the first books I read ever in my life was The Hobbit. And I was in love with The Hobbit. Love The Hobbit. I think that's what actually got me interested in playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, was reading The Hobbit. And that's kind of what got me started in playing D&D. And then later on, I graduated reading the Lord of the Rings books and things like that. And I could not believe it when we heard that they were making live action Lord of the Rings. And I went into it. I mean, the trailers for them were spectacular. But I remember going into it with a very tempered expectation and walking out with my jaw completely on the floor. What Peter Jackson did with the Lord of the Rings films, culminating in Lord of the Rings Return of the King, which I contend is the greatest cinematic achievement in movie history. It's still to this day, there's never been a movie that has won more Academy Awards than Lord of the Rings Return of the King. It went 11 for 11. It was nominated for 11 awards. It swept. It completely swept and won all 11, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, on and on and on and on. Everything it was nominated for, it won. All three of the films were nominated for Best Picture. I believe only one other trilogy in history has ever done that, I believe, and that was The Godfather. The Godfather Trilogy, all three were nominated for Best Picture. Lord of the Rings, all three were nominated for Best Picture. And with, of course, Return of the King winning once, Godfather winning twice for Godfather 1 and Godfather 2. It was both a blessing and a curse because a lot of people thought, I remember, here's the problem. Lord of the Rings was so good. When it came out and people realizing this is great, people thought this is going to usher in a new sorcery, sand, sword, and sandal kind of movie era, right? The problem was the movies were so damn good, nobody wanted their projects to be compared to Lord of the Rings. And it actually killed the development of a number of films that were kind of in the same vein.
Oh, holy crap. But
that's how good these movies are. And I still remember the confusion for a lot of people when the ending of, because those of us who read the books, the ending of Fellowship of the Ring with, Sam and Frodo going, well, okay, that's Mordor over there. Let's go. Credits roll. And everybody's like, wait, what? What? This is where they're ending? And then, I don't know. I just felt like the films got better and better. Then you get to the Two Towers, the battle at Helm's Deep, the battle. And then, of course, you get into the final thing where it's like Peter Jackson redefined what grand epic scale action sequences could be. He did it in Helm's Deep, in Two Towers, and then when we got to Return of the King, he upped himself with the Battle at Gondor. And some of the most chilling, chest-thumping, cheering, crying, emotional moments I have ever had in a cinema, ever in my life, have come from the Lord of the Rings films. You can't mention to me the scene in Return of the King when Aragorn runs into the throne room of Theoden, the king of Rohan, and says, the torches have been lit. Gondor calls for aid. And Theoden, who's kind of pissed off at Gondor because they abandoned them before, and he already told Aragorn, we're not going to go and help these guys. But he comes running in and says, the torches have been lit. Gondor calls for aid. And the look on Theoden's face, a true fucking king. The lip curls up and he goes, and Rohan shall answer. That's a man. That is a man right there. That line, every time I even think about it, chills shoot through my body. He says, Rohan shall answer. I'm like, yeah. And I don't know that I've ever seen a more emotional moment to me. I don't know that I've ever personally seen a more emotional moment in a movie that I get totally choked up at the end of Return of the King as they're all, there's the coronation of the new king, and he's going through, the king is walking through and greeting all the men, the elves, and all that kind of stuff, and then he comes to these four little hobbits. And the plateau of the king, around the tree of the king, is filled with everybody from Middle-earth. He comes to these four little hobbits, and as everybody's been bowing to the king, the hobbits start to bow, and the king says to them, my friends, you bow to no one. And then all of Middle-earth takes a knee and bows to these four hobbits. And I'm sorry, but my blood starts to rush. I get goosebumps on my arms when I think about it. Seeing frickin' Orlando Bloom, almost every scene with Legolas as he's zipping around doing his arrows thing. Screw Katniss Everdeen. Screw Hawkeye. Legolas.
Man, these movies sound really good. I should check them out.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I mean, these movies, like, honestly, to me, the original 3 Star Wars films to me are the greatest films of all time. Like, I just count New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi as one film. That's Star Wars to me. Greatest film of all time. But I'll tell you what, right up there is Lord of the Rings. Right up there is Lord of the Rings. And that even when it's the most perfect ending to a trilogy ever. The credits start to roll and they do the sketching, the art sketches of the characters and the place. It's like saying to the audience, let's revisit this journey we've been on together as we say goodbye. And Annie Lennox sings Into the West as the credits start to roll, which she also won an Academy Award for. on the horizon. Like just that song, like breaks me down to my base emotional elements. Whenever I hear Annie Lennox singing Into the West, I stop whatever I'm doing. I stop whatever I'm doing. It doesn't matter what's happening. If I hear that's going on, I'm like, oh, I can be in the middle of a job interview. I'm like, hold on a second.
Like Step Brothers.
Before marrying Anne, I might be getting intimate with a date. I'll be like, time out. Hold up.
Shut up. Let me listen.
Shut up. Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up. Annie Lennox is singing. You shut up. Right? It can't be overstated how important, how grand, and how utterly unbelievable the Lord of the Rings films are. They defined a generation, honestly, of film fans. They shattered the idea that the Oscars never celebrate genre films. 17 Academy Awards says otherwise. 3 nominations for Best Picture. The record-setting 11 wins, tied with 2 other motion pictures. No film in other cinematic history has won more. And of course, that all led up to a kind of a disappointment with the Hobbit films, which I still contend were good. They were just big steps down from the Lord of the Rings films. But we sit here 20 years later, and I can remember where I went, who I was with, what seat I sat in, when the first time I saw Fellowship of the Ring start. We get the backstory of the ring, and then we see Gandalf on a cart riding into the Shire. And I remember, because gotta remember, I had read these books when I was a kid and all this kind of stuff, and I remember I could not believe how much Peter Jackson had captured what the Shire was in my imagination.
Oh.
And I'm just sitting in my just Gandalf riding a cart into town, and I'm freaking out. You see the Hobbit holes, and you see all the residents of Hobbiton, and you see and I just remember at that moment I fell in love. And then the first time we ever saw Peter Jackson's forced perspective technique, making Gandalf look like he was 6 feet taller than the Hobbits, right? And I'm like going, how is he doing this? Like, and all that kind of stuff. We could go on all day about the greatness of these films, about the importance of these films, about the impact of these films. Mm-hmm. You cannot believe that they are 20 years old. And it's just crazy. And God, I want to go back to Middle Earth again. It's part of the reason why I'm so excited to see what Amazon is going to do with this Lord of the Rings series. But yeah, 20 years old. Kim, when you think about Lord of the Rings, what impact does it have on you?
Oh my gosh, what was I, 16 or 17 when that came out? And I remember it because I didn't read the books, but I remember there's something that I love about film is being totally captured by it and sitting in my seat and just being in this world and having this world introduced to me, and the love story between Aragorn and what was Liv Tyler's character. Oh God.
Oh, I can't even remember off the top of my head now.
Arwen.
Arwen.
Oh gosh, I remember that.
Time out. How the fuck do you know that? Why is it every once in a while Ray pulls out this information? I have no idea. How did you know that?
I don't know, because I collect action figures.
That's true. He collects all the figures, so he knows all this stuff. Okay, sorry.
I know that.
No, but I did watch the movies. I did watch the movies. Come on.
You did. Okay.
Man, you don't think I watched these? I did. I did. I have a story to tell too. After Kim, go ahead and finish.
All right.
Oh no.
Kim.
No, but it just redefined for me what epic is, because for me, my first introduction into epic was Jurassic Park. But The Lord of the Rings, I was like, whoa, this is another level. And something that I love doing is watching behind the scenes. I like watching how things are made. Mm-hmm. And Lord of the Rings I've watched so much footage of the behind the scenes and the VFX and the how to and how do we do this. And I'm just enamored with how they created this world, not just the world itself, like, wow, the elves and everything, but how they did this and how they really revolutionized VFX. Again, like The Matrix, so many films after it, this is the big brother that you look up to and say, how is it done? How do we do this right? How is it done? I love this world. I can't believe it's been 20 freaking years.
And by the way, I should mention this too. Like,
and Elijah Wood looks the same, by the way.
Elijah Wood looks
by the
totally
way.
the same.
Always
completely the same.
But all the stuff you're saying, I remember my mom's a big movie fan, actually. And I remember my mom got the DVDs for the Lord of the Rings, for all of them, right? And I think for a good 2 years, when she would go to bed at night, she would pop on the special features.
Just the special features,
Hours
man.
and hours and hours
I
of
love
these special
features, man. Those are like my favorite.
Honestly, like the Lord of the Rings special features, and as much as I don't like the Star Wars prequels, my goodness, the behind the scenes special features of the Star Wars prequels are amazing.
Oh wow!
And like
I didn't even
seriously,
know they had those.
It's like a film class. It's like a film class. They're the best. And like the Lord of the Rings and the Star Wars special feature stuff were unbelievable. Ray,
It was kind of overkill, to be honest, because
Yeah.
my favorite part about buying a Blu-ray or a DVD is the special features. And when I turned the first one on, and they went like 15 minutes just talking about how they're painting the skulls that roll
Right.
down the hill, I'm like, oh my god, this is too much special features. There's like 4 hours or whatever.
no, Antonio, too sexy.
But I remember the Two Towers. I remember where I watched it because it was the first time I visited the Philippines, and me and Ann,
wow.
and the only time me and Ann were on the plane, and I was like, "We're gonna watch Two Towers there. We're gonna watch Two Towers there." That excitement went all the way to the Philippines. I don't want not the most comfortable chairs. They were like really hard, but we
Wait, your
watched it.
16-hour flight to the Philippines?
No. In the theater.
Oh, in the theater.
The theater, it was like it felt like the folding chairs with padding on it. But we were all scrunched up in there. We watched it. We had a good time. I mean, the Lord of the Rings, there's nothing that can compare to that whole trilogy. I mean, how I felt when the hobbits were always by themselves, like in the woods,
Right,
and they're being chased
yeah.
after, that intense like anxiety I felt. Just
yeah.
because those, even though they were, let's say, the jobbers, those monster guys that were after them, they
Yeah,
looked like monsters.
Either the orcs or the Uruk-hai, I
They
can't remember which
terrified
one.
me.
Yeah.
And they came in packs.
Yeah.
And every time the hobbits were by themselves, I was like feeling this anxiousness, like they're gonna die. You know what I mean? Even when the knights and the soldiers were with them,
Yep.
I still felt helpless because the odds were so stacked against them. And I remember Return of the King, when the final battle was coming in, and those tree guys came.
Oh, the Ents showed up.
I was like, I don't know why the trees made me feel relaxed. Like they were like the greatest thing ever. So I don't know.
Nature's on your side.
Yeah, there's nothing like Lord of the Rings.
And
You
it
can't
reminded
compare.
us what heroes are.
Yeah.
It was one of those films where you look at the king and you're like, that's a leader,
That's a
man.
king.
That is a king. That is a king. But with the Frodos,
With the Frodo.
The Frodo.
With the hobbits?
with the hobbits, it really, I think, showed especially kids that there's a hero inside of you, and you don't have to be this big, tall, powerful king. You can be a hero in your own journey, and
Yeah.
that's like the most that I got out of it. And that it's funny you say that was the first series you read, because I think
Yeah.
I told you one of my nephews, he can read like 1,000 pages in one weekend.
Ugh.
The Hobbit
Oh, no
was the
way.
first novel series I got him, and he knocked it out in like 5 days.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I bought the first book of Fellowship of the Ring because I was like, I'm gonna get into this. I'm gonna read it. The first couple pages, when I had to reread just to understand stuff, I just put it away. I said, "This is way past my IQ right here."
Anyway, 20 years. We could sit here all day. You know, it's the funny thing. Like the Star Wars to me is the main thing, but
Yeah.
I don't have it in my head, even though Star Wars is my number one. I don't have it in my head that every year I must sit down and do a rewatch of the trilogy like I do with Lord of the Rings. Like and for so many film fans, that is a standard thing. That it's almost like your card carrying thing that you are a film fan. Like every year I got to do a rewatch of Lord of the Rings.
So you actually think, is it because of the time when you watch the Star Wars films, like everything about it, or do you actually think they're better quality movies?
Well,
than
no.
the-
It's the reality is I probably watch all the Star Wars films several times every year, but it's not like I think that every year I must plan a date when I'm setting aside just to watch the trilogy of the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
but I'll probably watch every
they're too
Star
long
Wars
for
movie
me now.
several times over during the year, right? But anyway, guys, the films have turned 20 years old. They debuted 20 years ago yesterday. What do you think about when you think of Lord of the Rings? Maybe you're one of these people that are just like, you know what? I watch them and I don't know what the big deal is. Maybe to you, they're the greatest things ever made. Whatever you guys are feeling about it, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move into main topic number 4, shall we? Kim, what is our fourth main topic today?
Our fourth main topic is the most important topic of my life because it means that I bested you. So this comes from Movie Fanatic. Hi, John, Kim, and Ray. Spider-Man No Way Home made $253 million opening weekend.
By the way, that's incorrect, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Let me be great. Let me have this. That nearly triples the pandemic era record. This film has already crossed $500 million worldwide. This is clearly the movie that's got everyone back to the theaters, and I believe this is the third highest opening in history. What do you think of this news? And do you think that No Way Home can cross $1 billion? Thanks for everything you do.
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And I do have to correct Movie Fanatic. It did not indeed make $253 million. That was the estimate. Now, you got to understand, on Sundays, the box office report comes out. But the box office report that comes out on Sundays are the estimates. Now, they're normally like ridiculously close. Like most of the time, bang on the money. Mm-hmm. But Sunday is nonetheless when the estimates come in. What they call the actuals, the box office actuals for this weekend came in this morning. And now we know the real number. And it was not I'm sorry to break it to you, Kim, but it was not $253 million.
Lies.
The actuals are actually more. It's $260 million is what it actually came in at. Now, for those of you who may not know, so you won by a bigger margin than even you thought you did. So here's the thing. For those of you who didn't know.
I demand a reward. I demand it.
I'll tell you what. We'll call it even for your Miles Morales prediction. And we'll call it even for Miles
Wow.
No.
So here's the thing. So Kim and I, we made a wager. We set the over-under number at 249.5. 249.5 is what we set the over-under at. I took the under in 249.5. Kim took the over.
Say it again, Kim. What?
Kim took the over.
Thank you.
And Kim won.
She did.
This thing became...
She's great.
Let's put this in context. That change from 253 million to 260 is significant.
Yeah.
Here's why. Because it made Spider-Man No Way Home not the third biggest opening weekend in cinematic history. It has made it the second biggest weekend in opening weekend in cinematic history. Let's see if I can get zoomed in on this a bit more.
That is incredible.
Avengers Endgame, which I told everybody would not come anywhere close. And I think most people realized Spider-Man No Way Home was not going to come anywhere close to Avengers Endgame. Missed it by about $100 million. But still, Avengers Endgame, 357. Spider-Man No Way Home, in a pandemic, with all the crap going on in the world, has come in second place as the second biggest opening weekend in history, ahead of Avengers Infinity War, Star Wars Episode 7, and Star Wars Episode 8. It should be pointed out that all 5 of the top 5 opening weekend box office records belong to either an Avengers movie or to a Star Wars movie. They're all Disney. And by the way, and the top 10, 9 of the top 10 are now all Disney films. The only film in the top 10 that is not a Disney film is Jurassic World. So number 1, Avengers Endgame. Number 2, Spider-Man No Way Home. Number 3, Avengers Infinity War. Number 4, Star Wars Episode 7. Number 5, Star Wars Episode 8. Number 6, Jurassic World. Number 7, The Avengers. Number 8, Black Panther. Number 9, The Lion King. And number 10, The Age of Ultron. And in the top 15, 10 of the top 15 are all Disney films. But in the top 10 of all time, 9 of them are Disney films.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So it's a good day to be a mouse. But Spider-Man No Way Home, look, we all knew it was going to destroy the box office, the existing pandemic era box office record. We all knew it was minimum probably going to double it. And it was originally projected to make 140 to 180. Then the projections came out that it could be 180 to 250. And then the projections went down. Sony came out and said they were projecting like 135 to 150. Variety came out and they pegged it at 240 the day before it came out. And then it came out $260 million. We've talked a little bit the last couple of days about the significance of what this means not just to Spider-Man, not just to Sony, not just to Marvel, but what it means for movie going in general. And actually, there's a very interesting quote here that comes to us from the chairman of Sony Pictures. This comes to us from Righty Writes. This weekend's historic Spider-Man No Way Home results from all over the world and in the face of many challenges reaffirm the unmatched cultural impact that exclusive theatrical films can have when they are made and marketed with vision and resolve, says Tom Rothman, Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group chairman and CEO. It reaffirms, in the face of challenges, it reaffirms the unmatched cultural impact and that an exclusive theatrical film can have when they are made and marketed with vision and with resolves. And of course, Sony marketed it, Marvel made it, and the results are undisputed. It is remarkable. And being in the movie theaters this week, now I've been to movie theaters a lot in the last number of months, independent, right? A lot. But I have not been back to the movie theaters and seen the entire theaters packed. The concession lines lined up with hundreds of people buzzing with excitement, both going into a movie and then later coming out of the movies. And you saw people coming out and standing around in the foyer and the outside of the theaters, buzzing and talking with each other about what's going on. And you felt that energy, enthusiasm across the country and apparently across the world. And this is, we've had some things like Shang-Chi showed, this is what movie, even in a pandemic, look what can happen. You take this little unknown character that nobody's ever heard or cares about, and look what can happen. Free Guy had amazing results at the box office. Spider-Man, when you make great movies and you market them well and you give them full theatrical releases, they will make you tons of money now, and then they will make you more tons of money later when you do put them on streaming. Sony understands it's not an either or. Sony understands you get to do both. Sony has a hard commitment to only releasing their films theatrically. And they have a hard commitment to that. And because they said at CinemaCon, Sony's guys got up at CinemaCon and say, look, we believe there's money to be made in streaming. But we also believe there's a ton of money to be made in theaters, and we don't believe we have to pick between the two. We think we get to do both. We'll put it out in theaters, have all the success in the theaters, and then we'll put it on streaming and have more success there too. And Spider-Man is kind of proving that point. It makes one wonder. One cannot help but ponder a little bit. What could have Spider-Man done had it A, not been for a pandemic?
Yes.
And, well, I'll hold off on B. I don't want to say B. But what would have happened if it wasn't in a pandemic? It wouldn't have hit Endgame. I mean, it wouldn't have made another $100 million
I think I know what B is.
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah, but later. No,
I was just going to ask you, what do you think?
Probably another
Not
50.
only are we in a pandemic, but there's a new variant going around. It's not like we're at the tail end. And remember last year, it's like, no, there's new stuff. Put your mask back on. And look what it did. If this was a normal time in history, you really don't think it would have knocked
another
Endgame
100
off
million?
the 357 million?
No, I don't think it would have made another 100 million, but I believe it would have made more. I believe it would have made a lot more.
But you did lose, so I don't know how well I could take that.
But it's true. It's like how significant is this? Now, the unfortunate thing for Spider-Man is that its legs might get chopped out from underneath it. Because there are some whispers going around that New York may shut down their movie theaters again. There are more with the Omicron thing going around. They are talking about more restrictions going on. I mean, this could impact Spider-Man.
I mean, all our friends in, what was it, Norway? We had so many friends that wrote in and said we can't see it till January 14th.
A number of provinces in Canada have reduced their theater capacity to 50%. They may actually be shutting them down now pretty soon.
Wow.
I mean, it's a thing that's going around. So that might affect it. But you know what? We'll worry about that later.
Okay. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, please.
It has to do with what you were talking about the people, all the people there that you witnessed there, that I witnessed there. There's no, say what you want about superhero movies. Like, I know some people trash them. We've heard it. There's no other genre that brings in the demographic of all ages and all races into a theater other than like superhero movies. So, I'm just saying, like, I'm happy to be a fan of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and it's great. Like you walk into these movies and you'll look around and you'll see, I was doing a companion video the other day and I made this point. I said, sports and movies have this unifying power that nobody does. Like I was watching a little bit of the Pittsburgh Steelers game the other day, right? They were playing in Pittsburgh and you look at this stadium, people going crazy. And in that stadium are people from every spectrum of the socioeconomical pattern. You have Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
You have, every type of person you can imagine. And they're all jumping up and down together and cheering together and high-fiving each other.
Yep.
What else can get that to happen?
Yeah.
The movies can. Because you go to movies and you go into movie theaters across the world, and you got people from every spectrum of the socioeconomic spectrum is out there. You got people from every spectrum of the political wavelength. You got people from every walk of life, every nationality, every ethnicity, whatever. What are they all doing this week? They're all watching Spider-Man.
And even their kids of kids and kids and kids.
Yeah,
and kids.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Young, old, yeah.
It brings everyone together, and all of us enjoy the movie or the movies. So it's like that's why I go back to like the people trashing these movies. I mean, why would you do that? It's such a beautiful thing when you get a whole bunch of people together to enjoy something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And yeah,
I had this great moment where I just looked over at the stranger when something happened in the movie. I don't know this guy, didn't come with him. And we just looked at each other like, dude, I don't know this person. I don't know where they are in the political spectrum. I don't know where they are in their views about this and that. But you know what? That was a shared experience. That was a shared energy. And I can't wait for all of our little ones 10 years from now. This is now a new memory they have. This is the first time I saw Spider-Man. This is their Star Wars moment, the first time I ever saw it. This is such a huge moment for so many kids that this is their first introduction into Spider-Man. And that's the most important thing to take from this. Yes, the numbers are great and money is great, blah, blah, blah. But what the money numbers say is that a lot of people who are different experienced this together.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to hold on to, especially as we might be going into another tough season, is what? If we can't agree on this or that, can we all just agree that Spider-Man was just mad dope? Yes, we can. We can.
Yeah. It was great. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of legs it has, all other things considered. But $260 million. Again, guys, don't overlook the significance of this moment. Right now, at this period of time that's going on, a movie came out that became the second biggest opening in the history of cinema. Don't just think that's another interesting, like a little factoid. That is a major, major thing. And again, I think it shows the hunger in a lot of people to get back to these big event films and seeing them in theaters and blah, blah. I just think it speaks to that. And again, the fun we had in theater watching this movie.
Oh, so much fun.
Laughing together, gasping together, cheering together.
Crying.
Now, was Endgame the most recent of them that hit the top 10 before the Spider-Man? 2019. I saw 2019.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, in the top 10?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that like the most recent?
I think Avengers Endgame is the most recent one to get in there. Let me just double look at this. So, yeah, Jurassic World came before it. Avengers came before it. Black Panther came before it. Lion King. I believe Lion King came before Endgame. I think it did. Avengers Age of Ultron obviously did as well. So, yeah, I think Endgame might be the most recent one.
Okay.
Could be. Anyway, amazing numbers. Question is for you guys. What do you think about this astronomical phenomena at the box, the second highest grossing weekend in the history of cinema during a pandemic era? What do you guys think about that? Where do you think it can go? All things being considered, it might have its legs chopped off. Anyway, whatever you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With all that down, let's now move over and start taking your questions today. We're a little bit behind because of all the questions come in. Once again, I want to remind you guys, if you want to send in a question to be read on the John Campea Show or an upcoming companion video, simply use the tip link down in the description below. Click on it there or enter it in manually at streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. You'll be getting your question read on a show if we deem it appropriate for the show. And of course, you'll be supporting the channel at the same time. And again, a reminder, guys, do not send, we had the Spider-Man open spoiler discussion yesterday. Do not send in questions for that. That was only for people there live and using the super chat feature. Do not send in spoiler questions for that because they will not get read. Obviously, we can't do that at this point, so we can't do it. But just to let you guys know. All right. With that said, Kimberly, what do we got in the questions waiting for us?
Okay, guys, this is coming from Wes Maurer. Hey, John, is it true that Shailene Woodley was cast as Mary Jane Watson in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but all of her scenes were cut out of the film?
Yes. But she only had a couple. There was only a very small part of the movie. They were just kind of laying the groundwork for Mary Jane to come later in a movie that never happened. But they decided it was unnecessarily convoluting the movie, so they just cut it out. But it's not like she was in a half hour of the movie. She only had a couple of scenes. They decided to cut those out. All right, what's next?
24K says, hey, John and crew, recently news dropped that there will be a prequel to the 1991 gangster cult classic New Jack City. How do you feel about this?
Indifferent. Honestly, in that entire era of films like New Jack City, New Jack isn't my favorite one of those. But I don't know. Listen, if they've got a great idea for a story, go for it. Let's see how it turns out. All right, what's next?
This is coming from Vincent Taylor. Hey, John and crew, do you think Kate Bishop's mom, Eleanor, is going to play the role of Vanessa Fisk?
No. I don't. Just because she's a woman, no, I don't think so at all. So she's not Vanessa. All right, what's next?
Vincent Taylor says, I watched Hawkeye. I felt disappointed after watching. The episode was under 40 minutes and it had no end credit scene. This series is all over the place. I feel like it should have been a 6+ episodes. I'm worried the last episode is going to be 40 minutes.
No, we've actually already found out that the final episode is probably going to be the longest episode of any MCU Disney Plus show. So I think they said 52 minutes. I think they said 52 minutes, which they're going to need every one of those 52 minutes. Look,
yeah.
I have some mixed feelings on Hawkeye. I did not like the first couple of episodes. I enjoyed the following few episodes that came after that. There's some things that they have fundamentally not done well in the show that I think they need to accomplish. But overall, I'm kind of enjoying it. We're going to see how it comes on. I thought the last episode was the best episode they've had yet. So that was really good. But now we're going into the finale tomorrow night, and we'll see how they bring it home. All right, what's next?
Fusili Boys says, with critic Elvis Mitchell, PTA recounts the whole of his NYU experience. His first instructor announced, if anyone is here to write Terminator 2, get out. PTA thought, what if I do want to write T2? It's a pretty awesome film. PTA gets it.
Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson understands. And what a ridiculous thing to say. Look, there are many different kinds of stories to be told. Many different kinds that affect many different people in many different ways. And I don't think anybody should be limiting what is considered to be the type of thing you should be writing when there are literally hundreds of millions of people around the world who enjoy that. They should also, look, you shouldn't just focus on writing a T2. You should also be able to focus on writing, The Master or whatever other, or, There Will Be Blood or whatever. But yeah, you're right. Paul Thomas Anderson gets it. All right, what's next?
Director Film says, you know what I hate, John? When journalists ask a big-time director, do you like superhero movies? They probably know if they say they don't like them, it will create a lot of buzz. I'm sick of directors getting judged over their opinion.
Here's the problem. Directors aren't getting judged over their opinions. They're getting judged over how they're giving them.
Yeah.
If you are a journalist, your job is to ask a question that might be on people's minds. And, I don't blame a journalist when, let's say they're talking to Steven Spielberg and say to him, look, this is a hot topic right now. Steven, these are the biggest films in the world, these comic movies. What do you think about comic movies? I don't think it's tremendously inappropriate for a journalist to ask a director that. The issue is, there have been some celebrities that I've read who have said, you know what, they're not really for me. They're not my cup of tea. And no one ever talks about it. Yeah. But then you come out and say, they're not real cinema. And, all due respect to the great Marty Scorsese, he's one of the greatest of all time. But that's a dumb way to answer that question. There are ways to answer that question. Say, you know what, it's not really for me. Instead of phrasing it in such a way that can come across as insulting to those who do enjoy them. Because now, you can answer a question that makes, let's put it this way. Ray, ask me if I like Mongo.
Mongo?
Yeah.
Do you like Mongo?
Yeah, no, it's not really. It's not to my palate. It's not to my palate.
Okay.
Now, that's one way to answer it. Ray, ask me the question again.
Okay. Do you like Mongo?
Filipino food is disgusting. Why would I want to eat Filipino food? God, no. I don't like Mongo. See the difference? There is a difference. And so like it's up to the director to answer the question in a more common sense way. If you don't like them, say, you know what? Nah, I've tried watching the comic book movies. They're not really for me. I love that they're so successful. Congratulations to everybody. They're not really mine. When a celebrity answers the question that way, it never makes headlines. Nobody talks about it, and we just move on. It's just when they decide to, I'm damn kids with their Twitters and
With the tweets.
with the tweet bots. Anyway, yeah. So face tweets. All right, what's
Your
next?
cell phone. Jenny Lyons says, John, because of my sister and parents' work schedules, I can't watch No Way Home until Christmas Day. While spoilers don't ruin a movie, it hurts the first viewing for me. Not sure why, but it does. How can I best avoid spoilers throughout the week?
Stay off the internet. I mean, look, look. Some people say it's not the same thing. It absolutely is the same thing. If you're a big football fan and you want to see the Super Bowl and you want to know what happens, but you got to work that day and you don't want to hear what happens in the Super Bowl and you don't want to hear what the score is and you don't want to hear who scored the touchdowns, well, you got to find a way to insulate yourself because it's not everybody else's responsibility to shield you from it. It's out there. Now, with Spider-Man No Way Home, it's a little different. This isn't a publicly broadcast event. It is a movie that happens in theaters exclusively. People got to go and watch them there, so it's a little bit different. There is an onus to not talk about it too openly, but it's going to happen. And you just got to understand that really there's no filter you can put on your computer. There's no Doctor Strange spell you can cast. Say, computer, don't let anything about Spider-Man No Way Home come across my screen. You're just going to have to insulate yourself the best you can. And I wish there was a better answer for it, but that's the best I got. All right, what's next?
This comes from Marcelo, the Peruvian legend. Hi, John. Oh, hi, team. John, do you remember my question from last time where I needed help because I wanted to wait for my girlfriend to come back from Spain to watch No Way Home? And you told me to lie.
Lie.
Oh, my God. Well, she surprised me, and we're going to watch it Thursday night at 10 p.m. screener, LFG.
I remember that. The second, so I really want to see Spider-Man No Way Home, but my girlfriend's not coming till after that. What should I do? And I said, lie.
Oh, my God.
You lie like you've never lied before. You practice in front of a mirror. You win an Oscar for that lie. You do whatever it is you need to do. Anyway, I'm glad that worked out for you, Marcelo. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, I feel like directors like Scorsese, Ridley Scott, and Villeneuve know their films would never hit $1 billion at the box office. They just have a harder time getting their movies made since superhero movies are mostly guaranteed to make money and their movies aren't.
Nope, it's 100% bullshit. Look, Marty Scorsese, no comic book movie will ever win the accolades that Marty Scorsese has.
Hell yeah.
No comic book movie will ever equal the accolades that Ridley Scott has in his career. Denis Villeneuve has never done a comic book movie, but he is de facto one of the top 3 best directors in the world today. They are not, here's the thing. They are not like, oh, that movie's make $1 billion and mine's not. Oh, Denis Villeneuve will make $1 billion film. I mean, for sure. But they make the types of films that are not like the huge popcorn spectacles. And that's fine. That's not the films they want to make. They want to make these other ones. In as much that I think that these directors need to more carefully word how they answer questions like, do you like comic book movies? I also think it's incumbent upon the audience to not overread into it and get, because here's the thing. Here's what we comic book movie fans can be: a frail, fragile little bunch. Like, wait, that guy doesn't like the things I love? Well, then let's attack them. Whoa, we got to attack them because he says he doesn't like something we like, because we're so weak-minded sometimes that we think if somebody out there is saying something against something we like, we take that as an insult against us directly. And just as directors need to be careful how they word that because it can come across as that, we as movie fans, in particular comic book movie fans, need to be a little bit more strong-minded to realize, well, they're not attacking me, and we don't need to lash out at these directors. Look, what Marty Scorsese initially said years ago was dumb. And so we call it out. It was dumb. What Ridley Scott said was dumb. So we'll call it out and say what he said was dumb. But we don't need to go on and let's get our pitchforks and attack anybody who dares say anything against the movies we like. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. All right, what's next?
Old News says, hey, John, I know we can't point to the comics to future stories, but with Kingpin, We may have Daredevil and one of his partners is Black Widow, but if they go down this route, we all thought it was Natasha, but in this universe, Yelena.
I don't quite know what it is you're asking. We may have Daredevil, Black Widow down the route. I mean, maybe. I guess so. All right, what's next?
This is from HV3. On your show, you said nobody knows what it's like to be a long-suffering sports fan like Maple Leafs fans. Us Minnesota hockey fans have you beat. Yes, Leafs have been bad your entire lifetime, but you never had to watch your team win it all in another state.
Yeah, the old Minnesota North Stars moved up, but Minnesota North Stars had a lot of success during the day. When they had Dino Ciccarelli and all those guys, I mean, they had a lot of success, more than my Toronto Maple Leafs did. So I get it. There must be a particular hurt. Like, I think, wasn't it the Winnipeg Jets who became the Colorado Avalanche? No, or was it the Quebec Nordiques? The Quebec Nordiques became the Colorado Avalanche. And then the people in Quebec had to watch Colorado win a Stanley Cup. I mean, that must have been, yeah, so that must be hard. But my entire lifetime, the Toronto Maple Leafs have never even been to the Stanley Cup final. That's a lot of long suffering, man. All right, what's next?
Smokey McPot sends in a $20 tip. Thank you.
Thank you, dude.
Smokey McPot.
John, I just got out of the cinema from watching No Way Home, and the film is spectacular. I laughed, I cried, I cheered, and had my heart broken, and it's now my favorite Spider-Man movie. I can't wait for you guys to see it and for the spoiler discussion. Bring
and of
on
course,
the
the spoiler discussion did come yesterday. We did that. Obviously, this was sent in before we did it. Yeah, listen, I loved it. To me, this is where I have it for right now. I need to watch it a couple more times. For me, it is the best MCU Spider-Man movie yet. I loved Homecoming and Far From Home, but this is the best of the three. I have it as my third best Spider-Man movie out of the 9 that have been done. I still have Far From Home. Sorry, not Far From Home. I still have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 2 above it. For me, I need to think about this more, but I'm pretty sure it's not my favorite comic book movie of the year. Like, I think Shang-Chi is still my favorite comic book movie of the year, but I loved this movie. I had such a good time with it. They did so many things well. It's just such a phenomenal accomplishment. And the fact that they were able to top already great movies like Homecoming and Far From Home, I think it is incredible testimony. All right. Thanks a lot for that, Smokey. What's next?
Agent J says, Bonjour, John and Co. Just went to see Spider-Man No Way Home and big surprises. You guys are in for a treat. Won't say more, just that Willem Dafoe is awesome in this movie. He kills it. Enjoy.
Willem Dafoe was absolutely remarkable in it.
Freaking killed it, man.
I actually thought Alfred Molina was even better. Like,
You do.
Oh my God.
I think the reverse. I think Alfred Molina was awesome, but Willem Dafoe, dude.
Oh, I love them
Killed
both.
it.
The baseline though is they both did
They
great.
just elevate
Yeah.
everything that they're in. They just elevate it,
Yeah,
man.
they were both great. All right, what's next?
The Beagle says, Hi, John. I'm recovering from a bad insomnia spell. You mentioned that you take non-habit forming Kirkland brand sleeping
Yes.
pills. Could you tell me more about them? I'm trying to transition away from Ambien.
Well, look, I'm not a pharmacist, so don't take any medical advice from me. All right, I can just tell you my experience. For many years, I've had a hard time where 2 to 3 nights a week, I would go to bed and I would lay there till like 3 a.m. and not be able to fall asleep.
Yeah.
I tried everything from melatonin, and I tried whatever. Somebody then recommended to me the Kirkland brand non-habit forming sleeping pills. And I started taking one of those half hour before going to bed. And now maybe once a month, I find myself laying in, instead of 2 to 3 times a week, now maybe once a month, I find myself laying in bed till 3 a.m. So they have worked for me. But again, I can't tell you anything more. I'm not a pharmacist. I'm not a medical professional. Don't listen to anything I'm saying. I'm just telling you what my experience was. That's it. But they did work for me. All right. Thanks a lot for writing that in the Beagle. What's next?
Josu Lopez says, Hi, John. I hope you and everyone have a great No Way Home experience. But for me, it's a little bit different. I suffer from OCD, so movie events like this are very stressful for me. It's painful, but now just desire the best experience for everyone.
That's interesting. I find that really interesting. Like what different, like I never really consider, I think a lot of us don't even stop to consider about what must different people with different situations and different conditions, how that might affect your movie watching and movie enjoying experience.
Mm-hmm.
That is really good. Thank you for the reminder of that, man, because that's not really something that's in the front of our heads a lot. And I'm glad that you expressed that. Thanks for that, man. All right, what's next?
Paul Drummer says, hi, John and crew. Saw No Way Home on Wednesday here in the UK. No spoilers, but OMG, what a film. I love it. I can't wait to watch it again. It's not often I've seen UK audiences clap when things happen in a film, but we did for this. Can't wait for your spoiler discussion video and to hear your thoughts.
And of course, we did the spoiler discussion video yesterday. If you guys want to see watch it, it's up there right now. We've got part 2 coming and probably a part 3 and a part 4 at some point. But yeah, that is one of the coolest things because we often hear from our film loving brothers and sisters overseas, like in the UK, you know, we watch these videos of people freaking out in Endgame and stuff like that, and we don't do that here. But we've been hearing a lot of reports that they are doing it in the UK cinema, which is actually really, really cool to hear. So thanks for sharing the experience on that, Paul. All right, what's next?
Jamo says, good day, Dream Team. Who do you think is the most underrated actor working today? It was Sam Rockwell for a while for me until he got his Oscar for 3 Billboards. I also really rate Joel Edgerton. Cheers.
Joel Edgerton
Gosh.
is so good.
Oh, man, that guy.
Uncle Owen in the Star Wars prequels. He was also so good. A movie he did that was so good opposite of Tom Hardy was, I think it was called Warrior. It was an MMA movie with Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy play brothers. Love him in that. I mean, he's fantastic. The 2 guys that stand out most to me about the most underrated performers are Chiwetel Ejiofor, although the appreciation for him is finally starting to grow a bit, but I think he's been like one of the most underappreciated guys in the world for a long time. And, oh, why am I freezing on? He played Angel in the X-Men movies, and he's in 3:10 to Yuma, and he's in
Ben Foster.
Ben Foster. I kept thinking Ben Kingsley, but it's like not Ben Kingsley. Ben Foster. Ben Foster is a beast.
Freaking Hell or High Water, dude.
Oh, so good in Hell or High
Jeez
Water.
Louise.
With Jeff Bridges, Chris Pine, stuff like that. You look, 3:10 to Yuma.
And he's a Disney kid, too.
3:10 to Yuma. Ben is in a movie with 2 of the biggest stars in the world, 2 of the best actors in the world, Russell Crowe and Christian Bale. He stole that movie. He stole that movie in a movie with Christian Bale and Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Now, I still think the best actor in the world today that does not have an Academy Award is still Ralph Fiennes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he ain't underrated. People know how good Ralph Fiennes is. But I still think people sleep on Chiwetel Ejiofor and on Ben. So that's where I'm at on that. All right, what's next?
Adam S. says, I don't know if this joke has been made already, but I'm going to make it anyway. I'm a big UFC fan, and I think it would be hysterical if you guys did a rankings watch 2021. By the way, you guys see that upset with Nunez? Man, what a fight.
No, listen, the Nunez fight, it is the biggest combat sports upset since Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson. I mean, more than Matt Serra over George St. Pierre, more than any of that. It is the biggest upset I have seen. I mean, it was insane. Absolutely insane. Good on her. It was fantastic.
You know what's funny?
What's that?
I was somewhere in California, I'm not going to say where, and this woman was walking towards me, and she had some dope braids. I was like, oh, I want to tell her braids are dope. But she looks like she could kick my ass. It was Cyborg.
Chris Cyborg? Really?
Yep. And she was with her whole like crew, and I was like, I want to compliment her on her hair, but she had this look in her eye like, I'll beat your ass, and I was like, oh, I'll just appreciate it from back here.
Should have went up to her.
I was so scared.
I heard she was really nice to fans.
She didn't like, but it was just funny because I was like, is that who I think it is? But yeah. If you're watching, girl, your braids were dope. All right.
You know what you should have done? You should have just walked up and smacked her in the face. And say, that's what you get. No, you shouldn't have done it. By the way, just quickly, I want to, the super chats aren't open right now, but people are sending in super chat badges like Jordan Everett, Iconic Reactions, Kevin Cow, and France Augusti send in super chat badges in the live chat. Thank you, guys. We appreciate that very much. All right, let's get back to the questions. What's next?
Don't want to go home says, just got back from seeing No Way Home and my brain is fried. So much goodness in one movie. Definitely going again this weekend.
It was such a great experience. I'm going to go back and watch it at least 2 or 3 more times. Very stoked for it. I'm glad you had a good time. Go home. What's next?
Suthia says, I'm not good at many things, but what I am good at is attention to detail, whether it's work-related or having a good memory of details in shows or movies. But Jesus Christ, I may need to start my own MCU Bible with all the details so I can go back to them. LOL.
Yeah, I mean, it's It's getting a little convoluted. And we have already seen the MCU start to contradict itself in places, and they course correct as they go. I mean, it's inevitable. It's inevitable as you start to expand more and more stories and all that kind of stuff. You will start to have contradictions within the thing like that, and we saw it happen with the Star Wars lore once they started saying all the novels are canon, and then we started recognizing all the breaks in canon in the Star Wars novels. The MCU is now getting so big that it's inevitable. It's going to become creatively challenging not to have contradictions, but it's a part of it. All right, what's next?
Suthia says, I don't know, y'all. Seeing the reveal of Kingpin in a photo taken by Yelena makes me think we won't actually see him in person until perhaps Echo's upcoming show. Otherwise, they would have shown him in the flesh. I don't think we'll see him again in episode 6.
I think we will. Listen, there are many times in these MCU Marvel shows, Disney Plus shows, where they've done a brief introduction to somebody at the end, only to then fully expand it later on. Like, let's take Echo for a second. Yeah, we met Echo in person, but it wasn't until the following episode that they opened up with the big backstory of her, showing her from a child, growing up, blah, blah, blah. I got a feeling, look, I haven't seen episode 6 yet, but I have a feeling they're going to do the same thing. I think Hawkeye episode 6 is going to start with Kingpin. I think it's going to start with him. And maybe even a little bit of background about why Hawkeye is already so apprehensive about him. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right.
So many answers that need to be fleshed out.
Yes.
Okay. Matt Weber says, in the comics, Venom is obsessed with Spider-Man as his perfect host. Prediction. If Spider-Man ends up in the Sonyverse, it will be because he was dragged there by Venom when he's sent back, unwilling to let his perfect host go.
Well, obviously, we've seen the movie. We can't answer or address that, but it's an interesting thought, Matt. It's an interesting thought. All right, what's next?
Mark Sizzle says, love listening to your show while working. A comment after watching your Hawkeye companion video. I agree. Season 1 is too short, but I feel like it's obvious that Kingpin will get a ton of screen time in Echo since he's the guy that put out the hit on her dad.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I think Kingpin is probably going to be your main antagonist in the Echo show. But that's not why I think the show is too short. The Kingpin is just one element. I mean, that's not whatever. This show does not feel fleshed out. I feel like they've just tiptoed across a lot of different things. And I feel like they're just trying to do it as inexpensively as possible without sacrificing the quality. So they just made it really super short. But the expense of that is that a lot of things are just glossed over. So yeah, I feel it's too short, but it has nothing to do with Kingpin. Nothing to do with Kingpin. All right, what's next?
Remember, Rewind says, do you have any update on the Christopher McQuarrie live action Star Blazers? I really want to see the American version. Make it as a 2-film set. First is going to, and the second coming back from Iskander.
Iskandar.
Iskandar.
Only us losers would know that. Yeah, look, I've given up on it. The Christopher McQuarrie getting attached to a Star Blazers thing was first kind of talked about in 2013. Like almost 9 years ago. The last any kind of update I heard was like 2017. Then like almost 5 years ago. I have personally given up on it. I don't think it's happening. I certainly hope it does. I want to see a Star Blazers so badly. It could be so epic done right. But I'm starting to lose hope in it. But I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong, and hopefully we get to see it real soon, because I would love to see Christopher McQuarrie doing a Star Blazers. I would love it. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, I think you should address the fact that millions of fans are denied the true No Way Home experience. 4 countries will have to wait till January for theatrical releases. In Norway, they even had the nerve to postpone it less than a day before its first showing.
It's a movie. It's a movie. Public health is more important than when we see a movie. And if Norway and other governments decide, you know what, their number one job is to protect their citizens. That's their number one job. It's still just a movie. You know how much I love movies. I'm crazy about movies. They bring the world together, blah, blah, blah. But there are more important things. Now, the way we talk about movies on this show, you might not know that. But that's because this is a movie show.
Movies are life.
We talk about movies and TV shows and the translation of stories onto screens. That's what we talk about here. So yeah, it feels like the most important thing in the world is those. But we are cognizant of the fact that it is not the most important thing. There are other more important things. And Spider-Man No Way Home will still be there. I ain't saying that it doesn't suck. Of course it sucks. But Spider-Man No Way Home will still be there in a few weeks or in a couple of months, a worst case scenario. It'll still be there. You'll still see it. But there are things that are more important and take priority and take precedent over it. Maybe sometimes you wouldn't know that by the way I talk, but that's just because of the nature of our show. But there are more important things. Having the nerve to, well, look, if that's what you got to do, then that's what you got to do. And I think we as film fans need to be cognizant of that and aware of that. So I get it. It sucks. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it's not like the movie disappears. So if I don't see it by January 2nd, the movie evaporates and I'll never see it. Yeah, you'll still see it. You just got to wait. That's all. It's again, I'm not trying to pretend it doesn't suck. It sucks. But there are more important things. So that's my take on it at any rate. All right, thanks for writing that in, man. All right, what's next?
Corpipa says, saw Spider-Man No Way Home yesterday and it was full of big surprises. Can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts and spoiler talk.
And again, once again, the spoiler talk is up. It's up there on the channel right now. Go and check it out. And thank you for so much. I'm glad you liked it, Corpica. All right, what's next?
Msg says, enjoyed your channel for a while now. Saw No Way Home yesterday. Great film. Oh, 3 is the magic number, De La Soul. If you see the film, you'll know the reference. Normally a DC fan. Enjoyed the Tobey Maguire films a lot, though, so gave this a shot and glad I did.
Oh, I'm glad you did, too. Yeah, look, I think, again, we live in a culture where all the newest thing is the perfect 10 and the best thing ever. And I love this movie. Again, to me, it is not the best Spider-Man film. That's not a knock on this film. That's a testimony to how good some of the other Spider-Man films have been. But I do think it's the best of the really good Spider-Man films that have been in the MCU already. And I think that's a huge accomplishment. I thought this was not just a great film in and of itself. It was a great closing chapter to a trilogy of films that they have done in the MCU. Mm-hmm. It was just done so well. And I'm glad you liked it, man. I'm glad you gave it a shot. All right, what's next?
Sebastian Dietz says, just got out of the theaters from No Way Home. Absolutely fantastic movie. Hats off to all the creators for pulling this off, and respect to Kevin Feige for the brutal but clever FU wink or whatever to DC in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
All right, I'm not going to say anything. Somebody else brought up something similar in the spoiler discussion, and I'll tell you guys what it is off camera. But I'm like, what was it? And then people pointed out, I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that happened. By the way, that was not Kevin giving an FU to DC. For those of you who've seen the movie, that was Kevin giving a wink and an homage to DC. Kevin really likes the DC movies. He's not one of these brainless DC brainless fanboys versus Marvel brainless fanboys. It was a wink and an homage. It really wasn't anything else. But I totally missed it on the first time through. And so people pointed out to me, I'm like, that's pretty damn cool. But I'll tell you about it off camera. All right, what's next?
Rick Squire says, John, are you familiar with the MSG Sphere entertainment venue coming to the Vegas Strip? It'll be 367 feet tall, offer 17.5 thousand seats, have 160,000 LED screen with 256 million pixels, said to be 100 times clearer than today's best HD TVs. Sounds cool to me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Here's the thing. The human eye cannot interpret more resolution than the technology we already have at a certain distance. So, I mean, 100 times clearer, well, okay, that's great. The human eye can't decipher that. But I have been hearing some things that have been coming to it, and I'm always really interested in this type of stuff. So let's see what it is. But yeah, like already the human eye can't decipher the difference between HD and 4K, depending on what distance you are from the screen. Mm-hmm. And even less so between 4K and 8K. But I mean, so this 100 times clearer, that sounds like a really cool marketing thing, but I doubt it actually works out in practicality. But whatever. It'll be interesting to see what it ends up being, Rick. Thanks for writing that in, man. What's next?
Big surprises says game day. Seeing No Way Home tonight at 7 p.m. with my entire family here in Halifax, NS. John, you need to come visit. Big surprises.
There's NS is Nova Scotia, the province of Nova Scotia in Canada. It is where I was born. I was born in Halifax, Nova Scotia. And you are right, man. I do need to make a big trip back to Nova Scotia sometime soon. I still have family there. All right, what's next?
Patrick Short says, hi, John and crew. Which upcoming Marvel Disney Plus series are you most excited for, and which are you worried about? I'm most excited for She-Hulk / Moonlight Knight, but I'm worried about Miss Marvel because of the lack of star power.
Who cares about star power? Star power is a marketing thing. I mean, so I wouldn't be worried about how good or how not good Ms. Marvel is based on star power. I'm actually very excited about Ms. Marvel. I'd say the one I'm most looking for is probably She-Hulk. And that has changed. It didn't used to be She-Hulk, but I think after I got my first little glimpse of it, I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to everything they've got coming out, but I think She-Hulk is the one I'm probably on board with the most. I'm not really worried about any of them. I think they're going to do a good job with Moon Knight. They're going to do a good job with, I can't even remember if Ironheart is supposed to be a series or a movie. I can't even remember at this point. I'm not worried about I'm not worried about Iron Wars. Is that what it's called? Iron Wars. Is that the one they got coming out with Don Cheadle? I'm not worried about any of those. I'm really not. But the one I'm probably most looking forward to is She-Hulk at this point.
Worried about Echo.
All right. Yeah, you know what? I take it back. Thank you. You're right. I am actually worried about Echo at this point, right?
Yee.
I hopefully the final episode of Hawkeye will change my mind on that, but right now I don't have a lot of interest in Echo. So we'll see. All right, what's next?
Dangerous D says, "Hi, John. The trailer for The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, starring Nick Cage playing himself in an all-star cast. It's a fictional comedy that's about Mr. Cage. You saw it. What's your favorite film about a real actor, being John Malkovich, JCVD, Last Action Hero?"
I think probably my favorite iteration in a movie of an actor who is playing themselves is probably Neil Patrick Harris in the White Castle movies. That's probably the one to me that I love them. I mean, Keanu Reeves playing himself in Always Be My Maybe.
Oh my God.
Was also really, really great. I loved him in that. He was so fantastic in that. So yeah, but they showed us a big preview for the new Nick Cage one at CinemaCon, and it looks very interesting. I hope it's good. It could also be a total hot mess, so I'm not sure yet. But
you know what the freaking worst was?
Which one?
Julia Roberts playing herself in Ocean's 12.
13 or whatever it was.
I hated that.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, we never noticed you look just like Julia Roberts.
Girl,
yeah,
please.
that wasn't a good one. All right, what's next?
Patrick Conway says, "Was supposed to see No Way Home Saturday night with friends. I haven't seen since Christmas 2019, but just been told by my boss I have to film a basketball game on Saturday night. Out of town now, so probably won't be able to see it till next Thursday."
Oh, that's like,
Ew.
especially, I mean, the movie thing, whatever, but especially since you're supposed to do it with friends of yours. So that really sucks. But that's work, man. I mean, you got a job, and yeah, I guess that's still. I'm really sorry to hear about that, dude. That really sucks, Patrick. All right. Oh, I lost my place in the.
J. Ray.
Where were
20.
we here? Page 20?
There we go.
JR?
JR.
Great. J. Ray.
Jay Ray. What's up, Jay Ray?
And then I was singing it Ray J, and then I was singing it backwards J Ray. Anyway, JR says, "Hey, John, I don't want to say this, but it looks like No Way Home will be the last big blockbuster we have until who knows. Omicron is getting out of control, and I have a feeling another theater closure is coming. I hope it doesn't get to that."
It is coming. I think we probably are going to get another theater closure at some point, but I don't know that it'll be as long lasting. Look, the reality is more and more people have gotten vaccinated and stuff like that. So, I mean, no, I still think, like, what we might see those delays, like, I'm not expecting Morbius to come out in January 28th now.
Oh, wow.
Which sucks because we're only about a month away from when we're supposed to get Morbius.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah,
But I suspect at this point we're probably not going to get Morbius. I think it's going to get bumped. And then Doctor Strange 2 will probably get bumped and whatever, but they'll come. And by the way, I'm no infectious diseases expert. I don't know. Maybe everything will be fine. I'm just saying, I'm not going to be surprised at this point if those things get bumped too, but we'll find out soon enough. All right, what's next?
Big Will says, "Hey guys, I loved Spider-Man No Way Home. It's my favorite Spidey movie. The only problem I had was this girl who was sitting next to me wouldn't stop crying through half the movie. But movies bring this community together, so I suffered the pain. Hashtag that's Spidey life."
I'm not going to lie to you, Big Will. I don't mind when the distraction in the theater are from people legitimately responding to the movie. It doesn't bother me. I don't know why. Maybe it should. But when I see people getting super excited in response to what's happening in the movie, I don't mind it. When I see people getting emotional and crying and weeping and sobbing, if it's in response to the movie, it doesn't bother me. To me, it actually just adds to the experience a little bit. I mean, Yeah, sometimes people overdo. I remember Ann and I went to go see Joe Coy in concert doing a comedy show, and we were sitting beside these guys who just were so fake laughing, like trying to outdo each other. It was, it's like you could just tell it wasn't legit, and then that really bothered me, and it was very distracting. But in movie theaters like that, it doesn't bother me. I actually really enjoy it.
Does it bother you when people say the lines?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when I went to see a drive-in of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and I get that movies that have been out a long time, there's such a strong fan base, but it drove me nuts that several cars around me, there were people that were literally,
How did you hear them?
I don't know. I think I might have had my window down. I don't know, but I did hear them. And this one guy, every single line, as a group, they were saying it together. And the key lines I get, like, oh, watch this, man. Like the key lines, but every single freaking line.
Yeah,
I wish I had like water balloons in my trunk or something.
That could be distracting. All right, what's next?
Jose Rhoda says, hi, amigos. No Way Home. Okay, my 2 cents. Great spectacle filled with emotion and funny moments, but woven by lame, childish logic. As a standalone superhero movie for kids, superb. It could even fit a de facto Spider-Verse along with Toby and Andrews, but tone and plot wise feels very disjointed from the MCU, in my opinion. I wish Feige had passed the multiverse baton to more mature hands like Chloe Zhao or at least the Russos instead of these kiddie ones. But, well, let's enjoy the ride anyway. Cheers.
I don't know that I agree with that. Now, look, if you watch my spoiler discussion, I do have several issues with Spider-Man No Way Home. There are a couple of problems with Spider-Man No Way Home that, like, once you get over the initial euphoria, wow, that was such a great time. Okay, then you think about it, it's like, that didn't make sense. And wow, now that I think about it, that part, I mean, it does. I do have some problems with Spider-Man No Way Home. I never felt for a second that it was a kiddie movie. Like, I never felt that at all. So, I mean, hey, we all have different reactions to it, Jose, and you had yours, and I respect that. But mine was different than that. Mine was significantly different than that. All right, what's next?
Ethan Holgate says, hi, John. I noticed that you've heard mostly negative reviews on Don't Look Up, though I'd like to give you my positive opinion on it. I found the movie absolutely hilarious. So funny. I nearly busted along. LOL, because I understood what the movie was making fun of in terms of society and the government, LOL. But I honestly think it's worth a watch because I think you'd find it funny. But who knows? Adam McKay described it as a combination of It's a Mad, Mad World and Lars von Trier movie. So I see what he means by that.
Yeah, look, I never say I heard mostly bad things. It's just a very split things. And this is a movie I was really super looking forward to, and I was just kind of let down. I know some people that I know personally that saw it and really hated it. I know then, but Ann and I had dinner with a couple friends of ours yesterday who saw it and really liked it. So at some point I will sit down to check it out. It's just, I've been put off by the people that I know that really hated it. So I don't know. We'll see. All right. Thanks for giving me your input on that, Ethan. Appreciate that, man. What's next?
Marty Wolftrack says, Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire was the first time my mom took me to the movies. I was 6 years old. It's the day that I fell in love with film forever. You can imagine that what No Way Home did to me. I broke down in the theater and cried again at home. This was magical.
It's so great hearing people having these experiences at the theaters and the continuity of it, like the connection with memories about when you saw the other ones and seeing with family and all that kind of stuff. That is great to hear. I'm glad you had that experience, Marty, and thanks for sharing it with us, man. All right, what's next?
Burnt Out says, hi, John. Had to cancel my tickets for No Way Home. Unfortunately, got COVID. Will never, ever happen, but my dream ending in Hawkeye would be for Kingpin to have a face-off with Harbor's Red Guardian.
Oh, God, I
love that character.
Red Guardian was probably, look, overall, it's the family dynamic in Black Widow was my favorite part of Black Widow. Specifically, though, David Harbour's Red Guardian. I would totally watch a Red Guardian. Like, tell me tomorrow that they're replacing an Echo show with a Red Guardian show, and I'm all about it. I'm all about it at this point. I would love to see that. All right, what's next?
Derek Pierce says, hey, John, Ray, and Kim, I finally redeemed my scene points I've been saving up and got my tickets for Spider-Man No Way Home. My showing is this Saturday. I can't wait. I run my own business, The Brick Space, and we all watch your show while we're at work. Bring on the filthy.
I actually always get a kick out when I hear from people who say, because I've gotten messages from a lot of different people over the years that say, me and a bunch of people from work, we always get together in, the lunchroom or whatever, and we'll watch the newest episode of the John Campea Show, like we're
so
having
cool.
lunch together and stuff like that. I love hearing that. Thanks for that. And I hope you have a group. Thank you to everybody at, what's it called? Brickspace?
Yeah.
Thank you to everybody at Brickspace. And I hope you guys enjoyed the movie. All right, what's next?
E says, now that you've seen it, Spider-Man No Way Home or Shang-Chi? And did Anne or Ray understand Ned's grandma before Ned told us what she said? Love the Campea Show, though. Shit's like ESPN, but with movies.
That's always been what when I started Movie Talk. When I started Movie Talk with AMC, I always said the whole paradigm is Sports Center for movie fans. That's what it's meant to be. And I've always carried on that kind of philosophy. Maybe more like Scott Van Pelt for movie fans now, more than ESPN. But yes, I honestly, to me right now, I think I'd have to say Shang-Chi is still my favorite comic book movie of the year. And that's not a knock on how great I thought Spider-Man No Way Home is. I think it's great. But it's more a testimony about how much I really, absolutely adore Shang-Chi. That movie caught me so by surprise. And it is, one of my favorite comic book movies ever. And I think Spider-Man No Way Home is great. And yes, absolutely, without going into spoilers, Anne and Ray were the only two people laughing in the theater when Ned's grandma was talking, because none of the rest of us understood what she was saying. But you guys were laughing your heads off. So yes, that did happen. All right, what's next?
Bradley Alonso says, first Spider-Man was the first movie I ever saw in the theater, which my dad took me. I lost my dad last year to COVID.
I'm so sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, so seeing Spider-Man again years later brought back memories on my first theater experience ever. This time, I took my cousin and sister to their first MCU opening night experience. They loved it. Loved seeing their reactions with other fans.
Another example that Bradley just gave us of the power these movies have as shared experiences. You'll remember that forever. Right? And now you're passing that, you're going on to the next generation of passing that experience on and having those, building even more shared experiences. And that is a beautiful thing, Bradley. And it's one of the really cool things about franchise films that last so long, that not only do you remember going to a movie, but you remember going to a movie that's connected to this franchise specifically. And now you get to carry that train forward. And I think that's a beautiful thing, Bradley. Thank you for sharing that with us, man. All right, what's next?
Tremaine Fields says, I feel confident in saying that Spider-Man No Way Home is my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. But then I got to thinking, would No Way Home still be as great if we didn't have the context of the Raimi and Webb films? What do you think?
Look, whenever you're talking about any franchise movie, that's a question that'll always come up. Like when Endgame happened, right, and everybody's raving about Endgame. Well, would it have been received as well, and would it have done as well if it wasn't for the fact that it was standing on the shoulders and building upon 12 years or 10 years and 20-something films and blah, blah, blah? Well, obviously not. Films like this in franchises are accumulation movies. So, yeah, it wouldn't have been the same. Like, if you're going to have Doc Ock in there and you're going to have Goblin, and not only that, but it's building upon the previous films that came in its own installment, in Homecoming and Far From Home. I mean, that's a part of it, but that doesn't take away from whatever it accomplishes, right? It doesn't take away from that. But yes, you're right. It wouldn't have been the same if this was just a standalone movie that came out of nowhere and didn't have those ties. Of course not. But it is tied into those things, and it is built upon that. So you always got to keep that in mind too. Good question though, man. All right, what's next?
Zega Chronicles says, with the insanely good reviews coming from the critics and huge success in the box office, do you think No Way Home will snatch an Oscar next year? I believe VFX will be their best chance, but Tom and Will have a really good chance for Best Actor and Support.
I disagree. I thought they were both great. Again, often I mentioned Alfred Molina. Do I think they'll get Oscar noms for those performances? No, probably not. Like when you look at the performance, like Tom is great in this movie. He is. But when you compare it to Will Smith in King Richard, that's a different level. When you compare it to Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom, that's a different level. So yeah, visual effects, maybe some technical awards. Absolutely. It's a great, fun, magnificent film, but I don't see Tom or Willem Dafoe getting Oscar nominations. I mean, you never know. You never know what might hit the Academy voters at particular. Maybe they buy into it and they love it. But I think it's great for a Spider-Man movie, but I don't think it's on the same level as some of those other things.
You think VFX has a chance?
VFX? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Visual effects, yeah. But there's going to be some strong competition for visual effects this year. But like, honestly, I think visual effects is going to go to Dune. I think Dune probably already has that wrapped up. But will it be in contention? Absolutely. All right, what's next?
Rod says, my theater messed up too. It was playing in 3D, should have been in 2D. I got to see the beginning of the movie 4 times.
Yeah, so what Rod's referring to is in the screening we had, they started the movie, but they had given us a version of the movie that had Spanish subtitles. So we had to run out, tell the manager, so we got to watch the first 5 or 6 minutes of the movie, and then we got to watch it again because then they played back the right thing. Things like that happen, Rod. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, John, you were saying it needed to hit 65 Thursday night to make 250 opening weekend. You realize Endgame only made 60 and made 350. Infinity War only made 39 and made 250. Thoughts?
The reason I said that, though, and I did specify this, was because unlike, and here's one of the advantages, we should have mentioned this. There is going to be a little asterisk next to the Spider-Man opening weekend because it's the first movie. Like normally the Thursday nights, those screenings usually start at 7:00. Spider-Man No Way Home in most places across the country, they actually started at 3. So in most theaters, they had 2 additional screenings on top of what most people. Anyway, so when I said that I thought it was going to need to get around 65 million for opening night, that was because you got to understand it also had all those additional screenings. And having all those additional screenings that those other movies did not have, I thought that meant it would probably have to get in closer to 65 to hit that 250 million mark. Now, obviously it didn't, and it accomplished it anyway. But that's why I was saying that, because we did talk about the fact that it had all those additional screenings that no other movie ever had. So that's why I said 65 at that point. All right, what's next?
Wes Maurer says, hey, John and team, just saw No Way Home Thursday afternoon. Blew my mind. I thought it was strange that they showed the first Morbius from 2 years ago and not the newest one before the movie. I was looking forward to seeing the new one on the big screen.
Yeah, I was like, they did that for our screening too. They started playing a trailer for Morbius. I thought, cool. But then I realized, wait a minute, this is like the old original trailer. But maybe they just probably thought, everybody's probably forgotten about this trailer, and we might as well get some more bang for our buck out of it. And it's a good trailer. It's a really good trailer. So yeah, but I did notice that too. Well pointed out, Wes. All right, what's next?
Mahmoud says, hello, John and team. Greetings from Germany. I just saw No Way Home for the 3rd time in 3 days. It is just unbelievable. No words needed. In the theaters around here, they're offering screenings every effing 30 minutes. That never happened in Germany. Thoughts?
Oh yeah, it's huge. I still remember opening night for Avengers. We were doing our coverage at the AMC Burbank 16 opening night of Avengers. And they literally had all 16 theaters taken up, and every 15 minutes a new screening was starting. Like it was absolutely nutty. It's absolutely crazy. But that's the thing. Demand calls it. As theaters get sold out, they'll open more theaters for it. And you end up with a situation like that, Mahmoud. So I'm glad you guys had that experience. All right, what's next?
Bradley Alonso says, any chance we get Spider-Man 4 or Amazing Spider-Man 3 after this film? Kind of like the Joker situation, having multiple same character films.
I don't think so. I really, we've talked about that a lot over the last couple of months, and I really don't think that's the direction they're going in. You never know. You never know. I don't know that. I'm just saying I don't think they are. All right, what's next?
Ordinary Human Bartender says, hi all, longtime fan here. Ray said the AMC Movie Talk videos were gone, so I had to check. I found a few, including a compilation video with a whole lot of schnapp. I watched The Death of Superman Lives when it first came out, and I am a sweaty for life.
And by the way, for those of you, if you have not seen it yet, you really should go watch John Schnapp's documentary, The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. It's a lot of fun. It's so insightful, and it's a living testament to the great John Schnapp and the stuff. But you got to see it. You absolutely have to see it. I'm glad you got on that, Ordinary Human Bartender. All right, what's next?
The Lord Biswa says, you said you saw someone we'd never guess in a mocap suit, but admitted they weren't in No Way Home. Seth Rogen is rumored to be the Thing. Was it Seth Rogen in the mocap suit?
That's just the dumbest rumor I've ever heard. So we can just move on from that, Lord. But I will tell you, no, it was not Seth Rogen.
He's the most highest thing.
Highest thing.
I just think of how he laughs and like the Thing laughing like that. I couldn't do it. Okay. Mark Gorman says, well, Netherlands government announced another hard lockdown over concerns of the new COVID variant spreading. So movie theaters will close for a month. So happy and fortunate I got to see Spider-Man No Way Home today. It only got 3 days of screening, which is so sad.
Yeah. And again, though, it'll still be there. The movie will still be there. It sucked. It doesn't suck that they pulled it. That they had to do this. Sorry. it doesn't suck that they did this. It sucks that they had to do it. And again, the movie will still be there. And yeah, if you got in under the wire and got to see it before that happened, that's awesome. All right, what's next?
Jonathan says, well, it took 3 viewings of No Way Home, but it's officially my favorite movie of the year and second favorite Spider-Man, right behind Into the Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse was a much tighter and focused narrative. So here's my non-spoiler review. First 30 to 40 minutes was rushed as hell. Could have added another 10 minutes, but once that's over, the movie really gets into high gear. Action was phenomenal. Not the best of the MCU, I agree. Holland's acting, perfection. Overall, this is top MCU for me. Best MCU of the year, beating Shang-Chi. While I loved Homecoming and thought Far From Home was decent, No Way Home is the MCU Spider-Man movie I've been waiting for. Grade A+.
It's so good. There's nothing better than a movie fan going to a movie and loving the movie. There's nothing better than that. Now, I mean, I agree with you on the most. This is a great, terrific movie. They did so many things well. I don't personally have it above Shang-Chi for best of the year. But that's whatever. They're both fantastic and they're both super enjoyable. And it's so good when you get to go in there and have that experience. Now, I agree. I think that's been a common thing, even amongst, I've been hearing from a lot of people that absolutely love No Way Home, that most people are kind of saying, the first act is a little shaky. I've been here, like we saw a lot of those from the reactions before we saw the movie, but then we've been hearing that from a lot of people as well. And I can see, I mean, I don't think it's tremendously shaky, but yeah, the first 40 minutes is nothing super special. I mean, they do a lot of good things, but it's just a good movie at that point. But you're right. After that first act is when it really finds its footing and really kicks into gear. All right, what's next?
Ryan G says, hi, John. I'm bummed about not going to see Spider-Man No Way Home because of health reasons in Ontario, Mississauga. I hope I see it in a few weeks or in February or in March.
I mean, that's the thing. Whenever a big movie comes out, whether it's work because you got to go film a basketball game or you catch a cold or other health issues or family issues come up, I mean, it happens. But the good news, Ryan, is that it'll still be there. Like Spider-Man No Way Home will be there waiting for you when you're ready to see it. And that's the good part. So get well soon, man. I hope you recover soon. You're able to see it as soon as possible. All right, what's next?
Scott Brown says, wow, No Way Home was so much fun, an absolute blast. There were so many great scenes and the chemistry between all the characters was so good. This had the best action in any of the home movies. Holland was amazing. I just love this movie so much.
I think this was the best of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I don't know that it had the best action of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. It was good action. I mean, there was really good action. And it is, to me, pretty easily the best of the Tom Holland movies. But some of that action in Far From Home was so good. Like with the drones and Mysterio.
Oh, that one scene, that scary one through the warehouse.
Oh, yeah. Like that was...
I loved that.
That was really creative and stuff like that. And even like, I thought there was a really cool visceral nature just in his fight with Vulture and in the first one. I thought there was some great action in there. So, but don't get me wrong. I thought the action was really good in No Way Home. But I think what really makes No Way Home work so well was just its story. The way it just dealt with its characters and its story. And the action were great accents and they worked very, very well. But to me, it's not the best action of the Tom Holland films. But I'm glad you felt that way, man. All right, what's next?
Jonathan says, oh yeah, also no spoilers. Mid-credits pissed me off the more I thought about it. Won't say how or why, just what a fucking waste.
Well, obviously we can't go into it right now. We talk about it a little bit more in depth on the actual spoiler discussion. I don't disagree. I mean, I don't feel as strongly about it as you do, but I don't fundamentally disagree with you about that. All right, what's next?
Jonathan says, even after a Saturday morning showing, my third viewing for me, my theater for No Way Home was full and the audience was still roaring like mad. It's insane and much deserved. No Way Home kicks ass. Can't stop thinking about it.
There is nothing better than walking out of a movie and having it totally inhabit your brain for like hours or days afterwards. Like that's just great when all you can do is think about the movie and you're buzzing about the movie. That's when you had a truly really good movie experience. I'm glad you had that, Jonathan. All right, what's next?
Ishan said, food for thought. Is the MCU inadvertently making Doctor Strange feel incompetent? Most Phase 4 threats so far appear mystical in nature, and he hasn't been around to deal with any of them, whether it's Wanda, the stuff in Shang-Chi, or the events in Eternals.
Okay, here's the problem with shared cinematic universes and audiences. At some point, audiences want everybody to show up in everything. I remember saying this many, many years ago, talking about it's like now, whenever you get any DC movie, everybody's going to always ask, why didn't Superman come and help? And And that's what happens. That's one of the drawbacks of shared. Like, we as audience members just have to understand, look, this movie is this person's movie. So-and-so isn't going to show up. They could, but don't look for Doctor Strange to show up. By the way, like in Shang-Chi, all the supernatural elements were happening in Tong Lao. So that is like outside of that realm of reality. That's not what he was dealing with. Had that come into our reality, at that point, I'm sure Doctor Strange would have got involved. But we as these movie fans need to stop with, why didn't this character show up? With the MCU always constantly expanding and getting bigger and all this kind of stuff, like Thor has committed himself and vowed to be Earth's protector. Well, this thing happened in this movie, threatened Earth. Why didn't Thor show up? Well, we as movie fans are just going to have to get that we're not going to have Stephen Strange and Spider-Man and War Machine and Shang-Chi show up in every single movie. We just have to accept that. That's one of the suspensions of disbelief that we have to have, because there's just no point. That this movie is that character's movie. Like I remember everybody going, wait a minute, Falcon and Winter Soldier was in New York. How come Spider-Man didn't show up? Remember that? It's all anybody talked about. Why didn't Spider-Man? This is stupid. Why wouldn't Spider-Man show up? Because the show's called Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's not called Falcon, Winter Soldier, and Spider-Man. We just have to accept that that's what it is. So no, I do not feel at all that they're making Doctor Strange look incompetent. I mean, I see where you're coming from, Sean, I do. But again, I've said for many years, we just have to accept that in these big cinematic universes, especially ones that are expanding as fast as the MCU, you can't have everybody pop up in every movie. Even if it does kind of feel like it could make sense that they could pop up in that one. Otherwise, it becomes the Doctor Strange universe. It's not, you know what I mean? So, yeah, we just have to accept it. We just got to accept it. All right, what's next? Jonathan
says, the hype, the reveals, the high critical reception, the box office records in a pandemic, the A+ cinema score, over under 85% in 10 years' time. No Way Home will be considered a Spider-Man classic right here with Raimi trilogy. Me? Over.
I'm going to go under. Only because 85% is such a high number. We'll see. Look, what I have learned in my over a decade of covering the movie business has been, you'd be surprised how often our all collective initial reactions to a movie changes over 4, 5, 6, 7 years, positively and negatively. And so do I think we'll look back on this the same? Like, I don't think this movie's as good as Spider-Man 2. I would say it was better than any of the other Spider-Man movies in Sam Raimi's. Like, it's obviously better than Spider-Man 3, but I even think it's better than Spider-Man 1. But will we think about it that way? Again, like I said, I've been covering this stuff for a long time, and I am just, it's kind of funny to see how the long-term perceptions change. For example, let's look at Avatar.
Oh, yeah.
When Avatar was out, it was the thing. Best thing ever, blah, 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 right? Now here we are, how many years removed? And the narrative's different now. Oh, Avatar's so overrated. Oh, Avatar's so this. So, I mean, it changes.
No one's talking about the sequel.
Yeah, I mean, it changes. And we've seen it go the other way around too. Like Shawshank Redemption came out and it's like nobody paid much attention to it, blah, blah. Now, most really great film bodies, when you do top 10s of all time, Shawshank Redemption, more time than not, will pop up in top 10 lists of all time. Yeah. It's just, so it's very, very difficult to say. 85% is too high of a number for me, so I'm going to go under on the 85.
I'm going to go under. Okay.
All right, what's next?
I was going to make a joke. Updog says...
What's up, dog? Not much. What's up with you?
I forgot how to set up the joke, but oh well. Don't know how late this will arrive, but you guys should complete the Watch trilogy and do a spoiler watch for No Way Home. In my opinion, love the content and appreciate all you guys do. Sending love and good vibes from Texas.
So that's Laugh My Ass Off, by the way. Yes. So, yeah, no, we didn't do that. I am going to be curious when we can do those watches again. I don't know if whether it'll be for Morbius or whether it'll be Doctor Strange 2, maybe for the Batman. Well, I don't know if anything will be as big as Spider-Man, but we'll have to keep it because our watch videos were a lot of fun.
So freaking fun.
All right, what's next?
Jonathan says, why does that Sonic 2 trailer kick ass? Seriously. And I never saw the first one, but for some reason, every time I see the Sonic 2 trailer, I'm not going to lie, I get hyped. Is it just me? Am I crazy? And that score is awesome. Why?
I am impressed that you love the trailer so much when you didn't see the original. Because even Ray saw the first. Like,
Yeah.
you watched it at our place, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I did.
You came over and watched it with us,
Yeah.
right? And loved that movie. Like, I can't remember. What did you think of the first Sonic movie?
Oh, I thought it was great. It was a surprise, and I think all the video game movie adaptations,
Right.
that's the best one I've seen.
Yeah. So, but I'm impressed that you like that trailer so much without having seen the first one, because my enjoyment of it is completely predicated on the fact that I like the first movie. So that's pretty cool, man. All right, what's next?
The Sock says, utterly speechless about Spider-Man. Loved it. Watch West Side Story right after, and I'm just overflowing with emotion. That truly is an absolute masterpiece of a movie. Everything hit way harder. The anger, the tragedy. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, like to me right now, there's not much competition. So the West Side Story is the best movie of the year. There are a couple of key ones that I still have to see. Like I haven't seen Nightmare Alley yet, so I got to see that. And I think there's one or two other big ones that I need to check out too that I haven't
Licorice
yet.
Pizza, you see that?
Yeah, Licorice Pizza. That's the other one. That's the other
Yeah.
major one I got to check out. But for right now, to me, it's a fairly easy deduction. West Side Story is the best movie of the year so far. But you know, again, I got to check out those other ones still. We'll see what that goes. All right, what's next?
Hellbore says, hi, John. I agree when you say just give me a good actor to play the character. But I winced when I heard Keanu Reeves wanted to revisit Constantine. I have a huge crush on Keanu. So do I. But my comic book series is Constantine, and I have hated every time I see him on the screen. It's been rubbish. Would rather them not make another TV movie. My dream actor playing him has always been Daniel Craig, whom I've met a number of times. He would love to do it unless N. Gaiman is working behind the character with the director / producer, etc. Then I think they should leave Constantine alone. J.J. Abrams scares me after working on Star Wars / Star Trek. Personally, after the success of Spider-Man universe of Venom.
Venom. Vitamin of Venom.
Should have stolen Amy Pascal, the Sony Spider-Man franchise. I know we all remember the email fiasco, but she has done good work for Sony. Anyway, JC and the gang, take care and have a fantastic Christmas.
Listen, I'll tell you what. I often scratch my head. It's like, did you guys watch the same movie I did? There seems to be a lot of love right now for the old Keanu Reeves Constantine movie, and I never thought it was all that great. I don't remember people thinking it was all that great at the time. And remember, we were just talking about the kind of the attitudes of movies changes over the years. All of a sudden now, because people love Keanu Reeves now, everybody thinks, oh yeah, that Keanu Reeves got to come back for Constantine. I never thought the movie was all that great. I don't think it was garbage, but I just never thought it was all that great. As far as J.J. Abrams, I think he did a great job on his Star Trek movies. I mean, I thought the J.J. Abrams Star Trek era of movies were all...
I loved those.
Yeah, I really like those. I like those a lot. And I love The Force Awakens. Obviously, I did not like The Rise of Skywalker at all, but, you know, whatever, there's that. But I agree with you, man. Listen, the television incarnation of Constantine was pretty interesting at first. I kind of lost interest in it after he went to Legends of Tomorrow. But yeah, I'm not real big on Constantine. I didn't even like him all that much in the animated movie they did. So whatever. Maybe they can do a good one at some point, though. All right, what's next? Last one of the day.
Your Name says there should be a special circle in hell for the person with the laser pointer at the Cinemark IMAX in Dallas on Friday. I also wish to tar and feather the guy behind me who stood up and shouted at the person when he used it, as that did not stop him.
Well, you can't be you can't want to tar and feather a guy for using a laser pointer and then want to tar and feather the guy who tried to do something about it. Yeah. So yes, anybody who uses a laser pointer in the movie theater should have it and rammed right up their ass. I mean, right? I mean, publicly. And then, yeah, I mean, that's just like, I fortunately have not seen that done in a long time. I've fortunately not been in a movie theater where somebody pulled out a laser pointer. It's been years since I've seen that happen. Thank God. But yeah, man, especially in Texas.
Shoot.
Dude, you're taking your life in your fucking hands if you do that in Texas. Right? These guys are gonna, they got their horses outside waiting for you. They're gonna draw and quarter you. That's some bullshit right there. Anyway.
Someone in my theater was with the flash, took like 5 pictures of the screen with the flash, and the theater was full. And I was just like, are you serious? With the flash.
Please tell me somebody reported him.
I don't know.
All right, guys, listen. There are still more questions to come from, where are we at?
Terrell Wise.
Terrell Wise, Garden Variety Vagabond, We Got This Covered, and others. Do not worry. We're going to do a companion video later, and we'll start getting caught up on that. But for now, guys, that'll do it. For today's installment of the John Campea Show, thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day. Big thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow for the next installment of the John Campea Show. I want to thank Kimberly Kern for being here. Kimberly, where can people find you?
Hi, guys. You can find me on Instagram at WasGoodKimberly, and may I remind you that I am the winner.
You did win. By more than you thought. You won. Also beside her is her fellow winner, Ray Aura. Ray, where can people find you?
You can find me at Ray Aura with a 0.
With a 0 instead of an O.
Yeah, instead of an O.
And of course, you guys can find me on social media, on Instagram and on Twitter, right there at John Campea. That'll do it for us for now, guys. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.